So we established the why. We understand that AI is the new way to work, and whether we like it or not, it's going to become a part of our daily conversations in our everyday lives. So what is AI? Now, that's a huge question, and one that's going to take a lot longer than the time that I have to explain. So for the purposes of our conversation today, let's focus on the two forms of artificial intelligence that most of us are going to be interacting with and engaging with in our daily experience. The first type is what we call generative AI, or Gen AI. And really what that AI does is a form of artificial intelligence that's meant to mimic human cognitive function. And what it does is that it takes knowledge from our human databases, it takes knowledge from the experiences and the communication that we have with it to produce new content, whether that's a story, a poem, images, etc. What's incredible about Gen AI, and when we think about Gen AI, think of your Chat GPTs, your Microsoft Copilots, Google Gemini, etc., is that it actually learns with us. So the more that we communicate with it, the more that we put in things for it to do, it actually takes all of that knowledge, builds upon it, and learns and grows. So when you think about your big Gen AI, as we mentioned, think of Chat GPT, think of Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, Watson. IBM Watson is still around, even from the time way back when it was on Jeopardy. Those big systems that can take the data we put in, take our request, and produce new content. The second form of AI that we'll focus on today is one that we all may be a bit more familiar with, really because it's in all of our mobile devices, and at this point it's in most of our computers. And that's what we call conversational AI, or conversational artificial intelligence. When you think about conversational AI, think of your Siris, your Alexas, think of your formal Google Bard, any of those conversational voice assistants. And really what that artificial intelligence is meant to do is to practice speaking to us and engaging with us using what we call natural language models. So it learns the way that we communicate, it learns the way that we speak, including some of our colloquialisms, and it's able to actually respond back to us in turn with that same type of form. Conversational AI tends to be a bit more informal, tends to be a bit more engaging in terms of its tone, and it's meant to just mimic day-to-day conversations. Regardless of the type of artificial intelligence that we're engaging with, whether we're using Chat GPT or Copilot or Gemini, those generative AIs to produce content, or whether we're conversing with things like Alexa and Siri, or even for my friends at Khan Academy, Khanmigo, which is meant to converse with children and help them engage with their learning. It's incredible to see the paths and the ways that AI has developed and its ability to really, one, mimic human interaction and human intelligence, but also to produce original content. And with that, when we're using AI and we're engaging with AI, we might fall into the trap of thinking that it's the super machine that's capable of everything. And while it is incredible what AI is able to do, it's also important for our engagement and our interaction with AI to understand its limitations. There are three things in particular that I'd like to point out with regards to artificial intelligence. Number one, AI is not omnipotent. Number two, AI is not infallible. And number three, AI is not completely unbiased. What do we mean by that? AI is not omnipotent. We can easily fall into the trap of thinking that AIs are all-knowing machines, but it's important to recognize that artificial intelligence is limited by the data that's available to it. For example, if you were to navigate to ChatGPT, it'll often tell you that the information that it's had or has in its system is based on when it was last updated, meaning that depending on the time that you're engaging with it, it may not be able to predict or even find data from the current year that you're conversing with it. AI is limited to the human data that is put into it. Number two, AI is not infallible. Your artificial intelligence can and will make mistakes. Think of AI as a super search browser on your internet. It is able to access an abundance and a wealth of information in a very short time. But it may not always be able to get you the answer you seek or the correct answer. As such, the human element of AI interaction is crucial, and it is imperative that you check, double check, and sometimes triple check whatever response your artificial intelligence is giving you. One quick tip when it comes to that is you can actually ask your AI to assess its own response. So let's say I make a request or I ask a question, it gives me a response. You can actually ask it to determine, hey, assess this response. What was your confidence level in it? How sure of this response are you? And it'll actually give you that response back. Another tip is just to use multiple AIs. So Ask one in Chat GPT, and then go ahead and ask Copilot the same question and see the differences and the similarities in their response. Whatever the case, it is important to make sure that you're taking charge in assessing and checking the work with your AI. And number 3, AI is not completely unbiased. As we mentioned in the first point, your AI is limited to the wealth of information that it has put into it. And as such, if the people and the humans putting that data into the system have their biases, often that biased information can trickle into your artificial intelligence as well. I say that to make sure that we know that some of the information we might be getting is not completely objective. And so as we mentioned throughout, it's important to double check yourself. All of this to say this: artificial intelligence is an incredible tool, and the way that it's changing our work and enhancing our work is amazing. But it's important for us not to forget the human element of artificial intelligence. AI is only as good as our ability to ask it for what we want, our ability to engage and converse and make these requests. That's really where the power of AI is. Think of artificial intelligence not as a replacer, but a collaborator. It's in how we work together with our artificial intelligence that allows us to really hack into and utilize the full potential of the systems that we're engaging with.